Hey everybody, it is time for your next Let's Learn to Art Journal lesson. And everybody voted for most people voted for a mixed media background. So that's what we're going to do. And grabbing some matte medium and some scraps of book pages and a brush. Alright, so we're just this is my favorite thing to do, and it's really fun, it's really easy, and I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants because I think that's the most fun way to do mixed media. Alright, so I'm going to start with some matte medium. This paper is gessoed, but mainly because it's really thin, cheap paper. Alright, so I'm putting some matte medium down. If you don't know what matte medium is, it's pretty much a combo thing. It is a sealer. It can be used as glue, like we're using it here. But it also, if you've got something that's got a shiny finish and you want to get rid of it, you can paint this over it to give it a matte finish. And what I'm doing is I am just going to pick up random pieces of this paper. And there's no... Oh, that one just totally got caught by the fan. And what you want to do is you want to put down matte medium on the bottom and over the top. And it just seals it between the layers. Okay. This is just an old book I tore up. I think it was a Reader's Digest, maybe. I don't remember. Something I got at the used bookstore for a dime. And if the used bookstore is selling it for a dime, I generally feel like you can tear it up without feeling guilty. Alright, and I do like to use an odd number. Even numbers seem very contrived to me. And I do like to have at least one or two of them go off the page. And these are just personal preferences of mine. You, however, can do whatever you please, because that is our number one rule. Our number one rule is if you think you want to do something different, do it. Okay. So, that is your first layer. And on mixed media, you can actually do this in a couple of different ways. I like to use book pages, but you can also have your first layer be that you stamped into the background, you wrote into it, just like we did with the 1B, starting with words. This time our focus is the art, so we're starting with the art. I have no plan, I have no words. I am just going to enjoy the art process with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just making sure because I kind of have a hole over here and I'm tempted to fill it. But if I do, I'll have 8. It'll try to be balanced, and I don't want it balanced. Okay. So, going to stop the video, draw this real quick, and then we will move to our next layer. But again, you could have done this a lot of different ways. You just want to get some interest in the background. Don't fuss about this layer too much because there's going to be so much over the top of this. It may be completely gone. But that is one of the reasons I like using book pages, because even if I completely obliterate them with paint, drawings, other collage, whatever, it's still going to give me something because it gives me the dimension. There's always going to be a ridge here. There's always going to be a ridge here where there's something underneath there. So that is why book pages are my favorite to use, because no matter what else I do, you're always going to have the impact of those coming through. Where if it's a stamp, if I completely paint over it, it doesn't have any impact on the layers above it. But collage always does. Alright, I'm going to go clean my brush because this is matte medium and it will destroy this brush if I let it dry. And I'm also going to draw this page and we'll be back for the next layer. Alright, so it is dry. My brush is clean. And I'm just going to cut off these edges. Okay, I am something of a hoarder, but I'll tell you, I do throw these away because they already have matte medium on them, and I didn't make sure to get them completely dry, so they'll stick to my stash if I stick them in there. Okay, so this page is getting a little wonky from having everything done to one side. Oh, if you have trouble with your pages rolling up and you don't know why, that is probably it. When you're doing to one side of the page and not the other, it's drawing this page, this side, but not the other. It's going to roll up. Anyway, so if you have that problem, you can always just turn this over, gesso it, matte medium it, something, to put this side under the same tension as this side, and it should balance it out. But I'm too lazy to do that, so I just keep fussing with the page. Alright, so let's get some color on here. I'm feeling bright, so let's go with lemon. Let's go with lime. Let's go with magenta, and let's go with sky. Can't get much brighter than that now, can you? Yeah, these are still the Dina Wakley paints. They're what's on my desk, and I'm too lazy to get something else. Alright, I am just going to do my favorite method of painting, the dot method. I love these applicators for this reason. I can just put some dots on here randomly, and y'all can see I'm totally doing these just randomly. I'm not really even paying much attention. It's just finding a hole and sticking some paint there. Alright, because I'm putting these all on at the same time and all on wet, they are going to blend to some extent. And I'm fine with that, because remember, we are not planning this piece. We are just enjoying the process of creation. Alright, last thing I'm going to do, I like to put some white down. And I'm going to put a fairly big dollop, but I'm just going to put one. But it is going to be fairly big. And I'm also going to take what's left here and put it on my brush, because I like to get a little white in my brush before I hit these colors. Now I am trying to hit the yellow and then the yellow, and I'm not aiming to just go through everybody, okay, because I don't want to make mud, even pretty mud. Let me get a baby wipe. Sorry, the baby wipes are on the other side. You have to see my arms reach through. I didn't get a baby wipe out. Alright, baby wipe. And I'm just going to get the excess yellow off. Is that in the frame? So you can see that I'm just painting that out. Okay, and then pick up some more white. And now I'm going to go hit the blue, I guess, because that's what I hit. And the yellow is wet, and I am running into it, so I'm getting some mixture here. And just like with the other one, I am still just going in the two directions. I'm either going horizontal or vertical, but I'm not doing cross hatchy kind of thing. If you want to do cross hatches, just do cross hatches. Alright, and painting that out on my baby wipe. And now I think I'll hit the pink. And I accidentally hit that green, but that's totally okay. And I'm making a little purple there where I hit the blue, and again, totally okay. Okay, and I've just got a little extra still on here, so I'm just gonna try and get it off on some of these white edges. Alright, pick up the last of the white and hit the green. Alright, now I'm going to just clean my brush, And anywhere that it's just no paint, I'm just going to drag whatever is closest to it through it. These are really good paints to do this with because while they do blend, they don't really make mud. I mean, you've got to really work at it to make mud with these. And I wanted this brightness, and I think I got it. What do you think? All right, so I'm going to dry this, and I will be right back. Oops, sorry, hit the camera. Okay, so it is dry, and I'm liking it, but I do want to push this into the background a little more because this is not my foreground, this is my background. So I'm going to do two things. First, I'm going to add another layer, and can be stamp, stencil, whatever you want. Mine is going to be stamps, but I forgot to grab any. And I didn't grab an ink pad. So you can hit pause right this second. Grab either, I would think at this point the easiest to do would be a stamp. A stencil can get out of control really easily unless it is a small batch stencil. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll grab both so we can kind of talk about it. But you wouldn't want to grab, hang on, you wouldn't want to grab a like foreground stencil at this point, okay? That would be way too overpowering, dark, whatever. I mean, unless I didn't do it in black, but I want to do it in black because I've got all these colors going on. And so the way I'm going to build my layers now is by alternating black and white, so that I'm putting layers in here and making this brilliantly bright background sink a little back without actually changing its colors, okay? So grab your favorite stamps, stencils. I do like small patterny stencils if you want to use a stencil. Small patterny kind of stencils, all right? But stamps are really easy, especially background stamps. Hang on. I chit-chatted long enough that I thought, well, I can just grab my favorite ones. I do keep this in the top drawer all by themselves. These are my backgroundy when I'm doing mixed media. They are just the ones that I have grown to love. Some of these are Unity, some of these, let's see, this is from a Tim Holtz set. This one's Unity, Japanese background. This one's Unity. This one's from a Tim Holtz set. This one's Unity. This one's Unity. These are actually die cut scrap, but they are two of my favorite stencils. Yeah. And then this is a handmade one Bunny made me. All right. So let me grab some ink. And I don't know where I put my big ink pad. I think actually it is in, it's in here. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I have a bunch of brand new stamps and stencils I got on my vacation. Let's see what's in here. Maybe I should use something. Oh, I should use something different because I do have new ones that I have not used. And here's one. This is Dina Wakley's circle set. Oh, y'all. And as you can see, look how pretty they are because they've never been used. I got these on my vacation. Let's see what else is in here that I might want to use. These are Diane Reevely's. Okay, this one is more foreground, so we'll set it aside. These are totally background, so maybe I'll use those. And I got some letters. These are again are foreground, so we'll set them to the side. And these are more foreground, so I'll set them to the side. These, you can tell I have used. I love these. Love these, love these. These are the silhouetted women, but they kind of have this, like they're written on feeling to them, which if you've watched me do pages, you know I love. So yeah. And then this is a Tim Holtz set. Very backgroundy other than him. So yeah, maybe we'll use some of that. All right, so here's my big stamp, and let's just see what we use. Because, again, I have no plan here, and I really like to do this sometimes. I really like to just play. Okay, so, you know what? Let's do some stamping first because the ink dries pretty much immediately. I am using archival ink. So let's do that. And I don't mount my stamps for this. So we're going to use this one. It's a scroll work one, scroll letter one. And I don't mount them, and I don't worry about getting everywhere. And I just kind of... And again, when I use a stamp, I do want to repeat it, and I do want to repeat it in an uneven number. That is just me. You don't have to do the same thing. I tend to go in threes. But you do want to use it more than once so that it bounces your eye around. But I like uneven numbers. I think part of it is because I tend to be very symmetrical, and if you use an uneven number, you can't force yourself to be symmetrical. I like very balanced things, and then they look too contrived. So if I do it this way, then oh, one of the new circles. I love this circle. Then I can't accidentally or intentionally make it something that I don't want it to be. And I will. I totally will. Alright, so there's me some ink. And I'm going to hit this real quick, but it's pretty much dry. Well, let's just make sure it is dry. Alright. And now I'm going to take a stencil. And you know what? I have a new stencil I haven't used yet. So where did I just put it? Just showed it to y'all. How do I stand in one place and lose stuff? Here it is. Here it is. Alright, this is a new one by the Crafters Workshop that I have not played with yet. So let's play with it. Okay, and I really like this section, so I think I'm just going to use that section, at least initially. And makeup sponge, your best friend. And I don't want night, I want black. So give me a second to find the black. Here we go. Still using the same paints. I need something to be my palette. That'll work. Okay. And then just dab on, dab off. And oh, I love that. Isn't that cool? All right, let's see. Let's do it again down here. And that one ended up a little thick because I got too much paint on there, but that's okay. And then there. Oh, y'all, I love that. I may have to see if they have that in a full-size stencil. And you know what? I'm going to put this word love right here. Just because I can. And I think I'm just going to put that one once, but because I am, I think I'm going to put this one 2 more times, so I at least have and yeah, I told you I'm all about balance even when I'm not balancing things, so that's where that comes from. Drop that in my water. And And I'm just going to wipe this off. Where's my cleaning? I don't know where my cleaning journal is. Where is my cleaning journal? I don't know. Okay, so here I've got this. This is, well, that's wet. Oh well, it'll be fine. This is a journal that I'm making, and this is how I'm making it. When I clean my stamps and stencils and things, mainly stencils, and I don't always clean them, I'm just doing it directly onto here, and it will give somewhat of an impression, and then eventually I'll actually do something with this little journal that I've made. Not everybody cleans their stamps, and that actually didn't really do anything. There's a little dark on there, but not much. But not everybody cleans their stamps. You don't have to. I mean, your stencils, you don't have to. I kind of halfway do, as you can see. And this is just a big sheet that I've done that on repeatedly. Alright. That was just a little freebie thrown in there. So let's make sure this is all dry. And I think it looks great, but my black is really very much foreground at this point. And I told you I don't want it to be, I want it to be background. How am I going to do that? Pretty easy. A dollop of white paint and my brush and a little bit of water. Okay, so a little bit of water, a little bit of paint, and I'm basically making like a whitewash over this. And if it doesn't move enough, get a little more water. Acrylic paint, you can totally thin. You can thin it too much to the point that it's pretty much not paint anymore. But it'll go with you for a while. All right, so now you can look at this and totally see that everything I have done is still there, but it's very much in the background again. It's not jumping out at you, it's not in the foreground, and it's totally ready for another layer. I'm going to turn this off and dry it again, but I'm going to tell you, you can do this, what I'm doing, as many times as you want. And the more times you do it, the more depth you're going to get into it. So that's kind of up to you. I will really do it a lot of times because to me this is fun, and I will just keep doing it and doing it. If this isn't fun to you, then don't do it so many times. But it's very fun, it's very relaxing, and I enjoy it. Alright, let me dry it and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is all dry, and I got to thinking about what do I want to put in the foreground. And I really want to encourage y'all to draw, okay? But since we did that on the last lesson, I decided I would go easy on you and tell you to pick a stamp. Alright, this is a Unity stamp, and it's a huge flower, and it's a big open flower. So what I am going to do is I am going to stamp this flower onto here. Get to the direction I want it to go. Onto here a couple of times, and then I'm going to paint it in. Alright? So, let me get my black paint out of the way before I end up wearing it. And because I do want to get a good clean impression of this stamp, I did put it on a block. Okay, and I've got to have a little more room here. Y'all, have a huge table, and I never have enough room because I always have so much stuff on it. Anybody else have that problem? Of just having things just keep crowding them in closer and closer. Alright, so get a good amount of ink, and then stamp. If you heard that and thought, what the devil was that noise? That's something I picked up from Tim Holtz. I don't always see him do it, but I see him do it sometimes. He blows hot breath onto the ink so that it's good and moist, and it makes a better stamp impression. And I actually think it does work. So, yeah. Oh, you're not going to get a completely clean stamp because we have those layers under there. And so where that layer is, it didn't sit exactly right. But you can totally fix it with a pen if it bothers you. So, yeah. But that's part of the interest I want. I want the interest that I get from that. So, if that bugs you, either, do all your layers with stamps and stencils, or just take a black pen and fill it in. And I'll do that in just a second. Let me get some good ink on here. And I do know you're supposed to take your pad to your stamp, but I'm lazy. And I tend to get it all over myself when I do that. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 of these. Again, I like 3s. Yeah. You don't have to do 3s. You can totally do whatever you want. Alright, so let me hit this with the heat gun real quick so I don't smear it. Because it's still a little shiny. And if your ink is shiny, it's wet. Pretty much anything that is shiny is wet. I mean, unless you're using like glitter. But if your paint's shiny, it's wet. If your matte medium's shiny, it's wet. If your ink's shiny, it's wet. If it's wet, it will smear. Alright. So, I had already opened that. These little breaks, if you don't like them, if they annoy you, and I may or may not be on camera, just take your pen and fix them. Just like that. So, if this bugs you that this isn't completely visible, if it bugs you that this line is broken, then just totally and completely grab your pen and fix it. Alright? And that is totally up to you on whether you do or don't. Okay? But if it bugs you, it is just that easy to fix. Let me make sure you're still in frame, because I have been moving things around. Okay. Now then, I need my palette again, but that one is covered in wet black paint. So let's find something else to do with my palette. How about we use an actual palette? Then y'all know I do actually have them. And I do have full-size ones. I have several. I have palette paper. Don't feel sorry for me, people. I'm good. I just tend to fly by the seat of my pants when I'm doing art, and I like it that way. So, yeah. Okay. And I'm repeating the same colors. They're going to be more vibrant because remember we put a whitewash over the background colors anyway, and they're going to be much more intentional on this layer. So I don't think that they're going to fade into each other. And also we've got the outline of the let me make sure I'm still in frame. Yeah. We've got the outline of the flowers as well, and I will outline them again when I get through painting them. I need a smaller paintbrush though. Come here, you. Oh, actually, let's not even use you. Let's use you. All right. So I've got a lot of pink going on here, so let's start with some blue. And I'm just going to start to paint in my flower. not going for neatness necessarily, and I'm not even really going for complete coverage. I just want to make sure that my flower sticks out. Now you can totally, if you think, man, that looks awful tedious, you can totally paint a scrap piece of paper blue, let it dry or dry it with your heat gun, stamp your flower onto it, cut it out, collage it on. All right. Why am I not doing it that way? Well, I am not doing it that way because I don't want a pure blue. If you look, you can see all those other colors coming through and impacting because I'm keeping this layer really light. In fact, I'm trying to do the folds darker, and you can see I'm really working on this part right here being extremely thin. If you just do this directly onto blue paper, you are not going to get the same look or warmth. It's just going to be blue. And if that's what you want, that is totally fine, okay? But it's not what I want. I want this variation and interest that I have built up in the background to live on. Okay. And then right here is a fold, and I want those folds to just be a little darker than the rest of it. And almost done. One last petal. All right, and I think he looks pretty good. All right, so next flower. Do I want to, okay, decision time. Do I want all my flowers to be blue? Maybe, maybe. Or do I want them to all be different? I think I'm actually going to make them all blue. And I just cleaned out my brush needlessly now that I know that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this because you don't want to sit here and watch me paint those all three in. And I'll finish painting them all in blue just like I did that one, dry it, and I'll be back. Alright, so they're all blue and they're all dry. And so I'm going to do the centers, and I want to do the centers with this yellow. And I'm just going to put some yellow in there. Go like this. Alright, just put some yellow in there. And then, because I don't want this to be quite that intentional, I'm taking my baby wipe and I'm just going to blot some of it back out, kind of haphazardly. Alright, oh, I got it way over farther than I wanted to, which is okay as long as you got your paint dry. If your paint's dry, acrylic will let you just wipe stuff off if you get it where you don't want it. Alright, so there are my yellow centers. I'm going to dry it again, and actually that shouldn't take but a second. Alright, So now I'm going to take my brush that I accidentally left in the water, so let me get it dry, and my green, because I just want to run some stems. And I want to make these very organic looking. I don't want them to be too anything. I don't want them to be too, well, too anything. I don't want them to be too intentional, too straight, too thick, thin, anything. You just want these to be stems. Right, and one of the things I love to make is leaves. Okay, and yep, that's all I do. Just kind of pat them out. And if you're using this kind of this shape brush, they pat out really easy. And again, like so, and like so. Okay, and one more time, I'm going to dry it. And that's a little thick, so it may take a minute to dry, so I am going to shut the camera off. Also, I think this is getting really long. Alright, so this is dry. Now, let's go back to talking about mixed media for a second, because mixed media actually means that you are not just sticking to one thing. You're not just doing acrylic, you're not just doing ink, you're not just doing drawing, you're not just doing painting, you're doing everything. And that is how I can get away with what I'm fixing to tell you, which is I'm just grabbing a Sharpie. Yeah. I used my Elegant Writer a minute ago and it smudged and basically came up when I used my paint. This is intending to be my last layer, but I never guarantee that something is my last layer on a mixed media piece until I say, yep, it's done. Because sometimes I look at it and think, oh, it'd be so much better if I added this. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is take my Sharpie, because it should be pretty resistant to anything and everything I go to do with it afterwards. And I'm going to put my details of my stamp back in. Can you just restamp this? If you are that good, go for it. I am not that good. I will totally make a mess of that. And I don't even care if it is completely perfect. I'm not going for perfect, you know, recreation of my stamp at this point. I just want to add my definition mainly back in. So I will retrace my flower, and like I said, it may not be exactly the same, and that is totally okay. I say that a lot, I think. I've got to come up with something else to say. But my whole point when I keep saying things are totally okay is because I don't want you to feel pressured that it has to be a certain way. It doesn't. This is art, not brain surgery. If it's what you like, it's right. So, and especially if you're doing it like I do for a hobby and for relaxation, you don't want to make your relaxation stressful. You want to make your relaxation, oh, I don't know, relaxing. Alright, so then I'm also going to do the lines on my petals. Now, because I put that line there, that leaf is now coming from the other side. If I had done it like this, now this leaf is coming from this side. All right, you don't have to be intentional about that, but just be aware that it does make a difference. When you come to here, I have to decide which one of these is in front, and then I want to be consistent about which one's in front. Now when I come to here, maybe this one's in front here, but it's behind here. That's totally fine, but I wouldn't want to make it in front here and behind here, okay? So just kind of be a little consistent and aware of what decisions you have made once you make them. And then just keep going. And you can outline every single thing that you have done. And okay, and now then I'm going to take this one, and he is in the front all the way to there, and then like this, and then he's got his one little leaf here, like that. Okay, and don't, even though this is Sharpie, it is over acrylic, which is basically like being over plastic. So it will smear for a short window. Be aware of that. Don't put your hand in it. So like I started to do this flower next, but doing this flower, I would have my hand over this. So I didn't. I went to this flower. And you don't have to do it perfectly. In fact, if you're not going to do it perfectly, do it multiple times. It'll make it look much more hand-drawn and sketchy, and it will make it seem much more intentional that your lines are not perfect. Alright, so this one you can see that I've done that on. And here, let me stand up and get you a close-up. This one, I did multiple lines. This one, I did single lines. This one, to me, looks much more hand-drawn than this one, even though they're both stamped. But if you want it to have that hand-drawn look, that's all you got to do. Just kind of keep your pen a little loose and go over things multiple times with your hand just a little loose. I also like this because I don't have a lot of patience. I like to do things quickly, and this is much quicker than trying to be all exact and intentional. And you know what? I'm going to do the same thing in places, at least, on my stems. Because even though these are hand-drawn, if you're too exact with them, they won't look hand-drawn, or won't look as hand-drawn. It'll also just, it looks more like if there's movement, and I don't know, I just like it better. So, yep, this one didn't have any veins in his leaf. Alright, so let me do this one last, and because I just redrew that, I'm going to just turn it over. And Okay, so there is my art journal page, starting with the art. But I do want to add some words to it. I just have to decide what I want to add, because at this point I have not had any kind of words or anything in mind. Everything's been kind of random. So you know what, I don't want to write. I don't want to have to write. So let me see what I've got in pre-printed words I can just glue on here, and then I'll show you just exactly how random this is. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have this box, words and phrases, and when I have anything that has little words left over, I just throw them in here. So let's see what I've got. Anything that just... Ooh, garden. That's kind of cool. Spring fever, early bird, dance, memories. You're simply wonderful. Love. Oh, fortune cookies. If you don't save your fortune cookies, you totally should. Don't waste time on what might have been. Do or do not, there is no try. Keep your goals away from the trolls. Good clothes open many doors. Education is the movement from darkness to light. Love, family. Cause for celebration. Grow. Oh no, I kind of like that. Wise man knows everything, is shrewd. One knows everybody. I have a dream. Time to go to bed. Good things will come to you in due course of time. Be big as the sun. Open your heart. Unite with the one. May the beauty in you be what you do. Flower fairies of the spring. The finest workers in stone are not copper or steel tools, but the gentle touches of air and water working at their leisure with a liberally allowance of time. Liberal allowance of time. Can't read. Reclaim the power of surprise. The slanted door. I don't know what that is. It looks like a business card, actually. The story. You really have no clue how beautiful you are. I actually stamped that and had it left over. Wonderful, party, little, dream, snap. Okay, I like that you really have no idea how beautiful you are, do you? But I don't want it in orange. I think I want it in this white. Alright, so, although I really like that grow. But, alright. So, yeah. Let's see if we can get all this back into here. And, oh, the grow is still out. But I really like that. Alright, but I don't like it being so square. So, where are my scissors? Am I recording? I can't remember. Oh, I am. Okay, they're not in here, which means they're still on the table. Oh, but you know what? I have these scissors. I like these scissors. They do the little scallopy edge. So let's just do, oh, except I cut it upside down. Scallopy edge. Okay. And I'm going to put it right there. with matte medium. But do I like it being... Okay, I don't want it to be quite so plain. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this brush and I am just going to flick the edges. Oh, I don't think I'm on camera. Just going to flick these edges with my leftover paint. It just was too clean and white. So I'm just going to flick it. Alright, that's kind of cute. But I'm not through because I'm going to flick it with some pink too. Okay, so let's just flick it a little bit with some of this pink. And I got too much on there, so it's covering up the type, so I'm just gonna wipe it. I do tend to get my hands dirty when I do this stuff. Alright, let me clean my brush one more time. And then I'm going to take some of that yellow and just put in the center. Alright, there's all that. Now then I'm going to take my... What's that? What is that? Oh. I guess it's a hole punch, but I don't know how it got on there. Alright, so I'm just going to take this and, oh, I don't think I'm on camera. Taking my baby wipe, and I'm just kind of blending and lightening the amount of paint on here so that it's completely readable, but totally fun. And let's dry it. And I've used the exact same colors one more time. But I do want it to stand out a little more than that. So I'm going to take my black archival ink and I'm just going to do my edges. This will also give it depth off the paper, off the page when I put it down, because it'll kind of make it look like it's got a little bit of a shadow. Okay, and where before it totally blended in, now it is going to totally stand out. Let me give it one more hit here to make sure everything's dry. And get my brush out of the water. And where's my medium? Oh, it's right here in front of me. Y'all. Alright, a little matte medium. And I'll put some down. And then I'll put this down and paint over it. Let that dry that. And I'm not going to hit pause because we are almost done. So that's hot but dry. All right, 2 things left to do. One is I want to give myself a little bit of a frame. I like frames. I think that they bring your eye back in. So I want to do one kind of around my words. And again, it's very loose and sketchy, and I'm not even being intentional here. And then I'm going to do one around the edge of my page. Okay. And I'm just loosely sketching a square around here with scribbles, scribbles, scribbles. All right. And one very last thing, and that is something I love, and that is paint spatter. I do love some white paint spatter. So I need to take this big brush. Let me get a little matte medium out of it and put some clean water in it and mix it in with this white paint to get it really thin. Actually, that's probably too thin, but it'll be all right. And then just tap. Okay, now if I get them anywhere I don't want them, everything is dry, remember? So we're good. So I'm just going to get them off my words and off the bulk of my flower. Now you could totally put down a mask over your words and flower so that you don't have to do this part. But if everything's dry, you can see how quick and easy that was. It is not a big deal, so I just do it this way. All right, I will take pictures and put them at the end. I hope you have enjoyed your lesson, Let's Learn to Art Journal Lesson 1C, starting with the art. And I hope that you post yours to the group discussion page. One comment about posting your work, because I've had somebody ask where. Not on the video post. I will post one that says comments, pictures, and questions for lesson 1C, starting with the art. You post them in that post, all right? It is usually the post right above the lesson, all right? Okay, bye everybody. Hope you had fun.